What can I say except you're welcome? Sorry, I forgot that I had Moana in the background. I did turn it off before I decided to film the video, so you're welcome. You're welcome. Da, 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 because I don't remember the words. Anyways, today we're going to be doing a video that I actually posted a blog post of a couple weeks ago, I guess. My laptop's down here, so if you see me looking down, it's because of that. I'm not looking at my boobies or anything, even though my boobies are fantastic. You don't want to know about all that. A little bit too much information. This video is going to be about the psychology of the Joker. Every single time I see YouTube videos or blog posts about the psychology of a character, most of the time when I go onto that video or I go onto that blog post, it basically is just the origin and not really actually the psychology of that character. And it is a pet peeve of mine because when I grew up, when I was in middle school, weirdly enough, my school actually had psychology books. And they were kind of like younger, sort of beginner psychology books. It's kind of weird. But I read those a lot, and when I was in high school, I started reading them more. And it kind of stuck with me and everything. And I've always read a lot of serial killer books, but serial killer books in the sense of trying to figure out why serial killers do the things that they do. And that's always been an interest of me, and not just in actual people, but also in fictional characters. When it comes to the Joker, I say about in my early 20s, I started reading comic books. And the Joker is my favorite fictional character of all time. He is very interesting. It took me a lot of years to kind of figure him out. Today I'm going to debunk some things. Hopefully you would see as me debunking these things, because to me personally, they don't make sense. Or this particular thing, it's really one thing, it doesn't make sense to me, and I'll tell you why. And that's really what I'm going to be talking about today, is debunking that and explaining to me personally the most accurate representation of why the Joker is the way that he is, at least from the Killing Joke Joker. The Joker that we're going to talk about today is the Killing Joke Joker, the Joker from that graphic novel on, because that Joker is really the psychology of the Joker today. So that's the Joker we're going to be talking. Alright, so I guess since we're going from that, we should start with the Killing Joke. If you've never read the Killing Joke, this is the originless origin story of the Joker. Basically, in this story, he talks about how he thinks he might have been a failed comedian that was duped into going to his old plantation, chemical plantation where he used to work, by some thugs into masquerading as this villain or mob boss leader called Red Hood, so they can sneak by with whatever they wanted. I don't really remember what they wanted. It says it in here. I don't remember. They wanted some chemical stuff and they wanted money. I don't. The point is, they wanted him to sneak in and everything. And right before that, his wife and his child died. And he didn't want to do it anymore, but they talked him into doing it still. And that night, they got caught by Batman and I believe a couple cops. And while the cops were going towards them, I think one of them got shot. I mean, just read the graphic novel. I don't want to say all the details. The point is, Batman ended up running the Joker into a vat of chemicals, bleaching his skin and pretty much like fucking his entire like persona up. Pretty much. That really was the final straw into breaking him. And he explains it as one bad day that destroyed his entire life. Pretty much. So today, that's the Joker we're going to be talking about, okay? And I got 3 fine examples of women to explain what I'm talking about when it comes to him and what I'm going to explain. I'm being very vague. Let's just get into it. Well, as I told you, that's a story that he sort of kind of narrates in The Killing Joke. And he has explained that he likes to think of his life as multiple choice. So really, the story changes. From day to day, it just changes. But there's one factor most likely in every single one of those stories. And that has a lot to do with his psychology. If you don't think he has a lot to do with the Joker's psychology, then you're just crazy. The common factor, I believe, even though we only know one story, is Batman. Batman is to blame in that story because he's the one that ran the Joker into a vat of chemicals. I believe that no matter what he changes in that story, Batman most likely is always to blame. Now, it has been told that Joker has this thing called super sanity, where his perception, his sensories is overwhelmed and he sees life more real than everybody else does, and he doesn't let anything unrealistic get in his way of seeing the world. Me personally, that's a whole lot of hooky. That doesn't make any sense, and I've never heard of this thing called super sanity in real life. I've looked it up. It's not a thing. I believe what it is just people trying to put something special to a character that they find special. But really, personally, you're going to be really disappointed when I tell you that he has post-traumatic stress disorder. He does not have super sanity. There is no way he has this mythical thing that doesn't fucking exist. He has something real. Batman has something real when his parents died. Why would they make Joker not have something real? We have always said that Batman and Joker are two sides of one coin. Why would he be any different in his origin story than him? He has something real because he has something real. I don't necessarily know if Batman has a mental disorder. I don't know. I might do a psychology of the Batman and figure that out. But as far as I know, the Joker has PTSD. And let me explain why. As I say in the origin story, Batman, he most likely is in every single origin story that the Joker can make up on the day-to-day basis. Hang on to that because that's really important. You would think, because of that Joker would blame Batman. And he does. But it's more than that. I believe that Batman is Joker's trigger. When you have PTSD, I have PTSD. Just so you know, I was diagnosed with PTSD. I have PTSD. I know what it is. I'm not thinking lightly on this. I'm not just trying to tag it onto the Joker, okay? Don't be like, he has this thing. No, I'm not doing that. I know what it is. I'm very aware of what PTSD is. Like, oh, you can't just randomly give people mental disorders. What about people that actually have mental disorders? Can't do that to fictional characters. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down that comic section, please. If you're just like, meh, you need to chill. You need to calm. I'm not trying to randomly give, characters different disorders just to okay, let me explain it, okay? Let me just explain it. Everybody calm down. All right, okay. I believe the Joker has two different types of serial killers about him. As a person that read serial killers their entire life, read about serial killers their entire life, there's really a breakdown of two kinds of serial killers. You have disorganized serial killer and organized serial killer. The Joker is both serial killers, but he is the pros of both and not the cons. The con about the disorganized serial killers, they often leave a paper trail. So really, when you look at a disorganized serial killer, you need to look into their past. When it comes to the future, they're really good at you not being able to tell what they're going to do next. That's pretty much about that one. That's the pro about that one, and the Joker has that. You cannot tell what he's going to do next. But he has the pro of the organized serial killer where he does clean up behind him and there's no paper trail. But with the organized serial killer, it's easy to figure out what they're going to do next because it's easy to categorize an organized serial killer. So really, you look into the past of a disorganized serial killer and the future of an organized serial killer, but because they're cons. But the thing about the Joker is he doesn't have those cons. So really, what do you look at? You look at the present, and it's hard to do that with the Joker because he's constantly moving. So that's really what makes the Joker interesting. Now, when it comes to the PTSD, how does that take place into the organized serial killer and the disorganized serial killer? Really, he has the disorganized serial killer because what happened to him, but it's not his trigger. Batman is his trigger to become the organized serial killer. The disorganized serial killer is really just that bad day and how he reacted to it in his day-to-day life afterwards. The organized serial killer is Batman. He triggers the Joker's organized serial killer. You can see it in the comic books. Really, anything big that the Joker has ever done that is incredibly organized is directly towards Batman or his family or Gordon or Barbara, which I will be mentioning in a moment. But really, what Batman did to the Joker was beyond his control. He couldn't control it at all. He ran into a vat of chemicals. He didn't know what was down there. He could not control it, which caused him to have the trigger every single time he is confronted against Batman to become organized. Because what happened to him was out of his control, but was in Batman's control. So he tries to constantly take the control away from Batman. And that's why it became his PTSD trigger. Every single time he's confronted with the Batman is to become organized, because Batman took away his sanity. It took away his control. He spun it into chaos. So he wants to regain that control momentarily to make sure Batman does not have the control. Basically, it's about power and shifting that power. And he's not trying to be more powerful than Batman, but just trying to show him that he's equal power as Batman. And that's really why it's his trigger. Now let's go into the personality of the Joker real fast. And his personality when he's organized and his personality when he's disorganized. And so you can be able, when you read the comic books, tell which Joker is in those panels. If he is laughing, if he is smiling and erratic, he is his disorganized self. Another thing is, if he is playing along with Harley, he most likely is his disorganized self. If he's not playing around with Harley, he's most likely his organized self. If he's kind of serious and a little twisted, his sinister self is his organized self. If he's sinister, he's organized. If you've noticed those big things that he does, like death of the family, pictures here, he's mostly serious in those because he's triggered to be organized. All right, now we're going to do a breakdown of 3 women. These women are prime examples of his organized and disorganized self in 3 very different ways. All right, so let's start with the main honcho. And you think I'm going to say Harley Quinn, but this was Harley Quinn before Harley Quinn was Harley Quinn, because before he messed up Harley Quinn, who did he mess up? Batgirl. So we're going to be talking about Batgirl, aka Barbara Gordon. Now, obviously, we're going to be going back to the Killing Joke. Besides his origin story, the present story that is told in this is when he paralyzes Batgirl. This is the most prime example of his organized self triggered by the Batman. He planned this entire thing out, from the theme park to the cage to kidnap her father, to going there, shooting her in the pelvis. He had his camera all ready to take pictures. Do you really think that this was done on the whim? It obviously wasn't. He had projectors to show the pictures of her naked on the screen for her dad. It was all planned. Now, that doesn't seem like something from the Joker, because that's not something from the erratic Joker. That's something from the organized Joker. And that's a prime example of one of, if not the most organized thing he ever did. And why did he do this? Because he wanted to prove to Batman, one bad day can inspire you into insanity. One bad day caused by Batman. So he was trying to prove to Batman that he made him have a horrible day that drove him into insanity. So that's really what happened. He tried to do that same thing to Gordon, to show Batman really what he did to him. And that was the most organized thing he ever did, because that's the most meaningful thing he ever did towards Batman in a personal way. You see what I'm saying? All right, let's go to the next one. And the next one is a character that you don't really hear about that often. Her name is Sarah Eason Gordon. I believe I pronounced her middle name right. Not really good at names. She is the, I believe, stepmom of Barbara Gordon, and she was a cop. So basically, there's this plan that the Joker had to kidnap a dozen babies. Babies? What's a baby? don't know what baby is, a dozen babies, and put those babies in, I believe, the basement. I've read this comic book like forever ago, so I'm trying to remember it. She kidnapped these babies and put them in the basement of the police station. And I believe he was waiting for either Gordon or Batman to show up. I'll insert which one actually, he wanted to show up. Anyway, she showed up instead. So what did he do? He threw her a baby. He threw her a baby, says Merry Christmas, and then shot her and killed her dead. And I'll insert the image right here of her dead with the babies like all around her. And if you see the look on his face in this picture, he doesn't look happy. Why doesn't he look happy? And a lot of people have always wondered this, and they theorize why he didn't look happy and that he was angry, and just like they'll just say the expression that he has on his face and try to guess the expression, but don't really say exactly why they think it's that expression. This is an example of his unorganized self clashing with his organized self. He is not mad. He's not sad. He's not like people like say all these emotions that they think he is. He's disappointed in himself. That is the face he often shows towards Harley when he's disappointed with her, when she clashes with his organized self, and I'll talk about that in a moment. It's really the type of face he would pull when he's going to physically abuse her. He was angry at himself because he was doing something organized, doing something that he planned. He fucked it up by doing something disorganized when he was having a trigger attack. He was being triggered, his PTSD was being triggered to being organized, and his disorganized self got in the fucking way. So that's why he looked like that. He's disappointed in himself. Alright, and the last woman that we're going to talk about, obviously, is Harley Quinn. I mean, that'd be kind of weird if I don't mention her at least like 500 times in this video. I have to mention her because she's a really good example of not just one event like what happened to Sarah or what happened to Barbara. This is the prime, many examples of his organized self and his disorganized self, because this is constant and not just one story. Harley is disorganized. She does not have an organized bone in her damn body. She is not organized at all. She can never be organized, and that is a problem for him. That is a problem, because when he's unorganized, they love each other so much, and it's not like her love for him never waves, but I believe his love for her waves when he becomes his organized self. I'll talk about that in a second. But when they're disorganized, they're having fun, they're having a good time. He's smiling, he's laughing just like her. She loves that side of him and everything. But when he gets triggered by Batman and becomes his organized self, he does not have room for her, like at all. And he definitely doesn't have room for her to mess up. So when she does mess up because she doesn't have an organized bone in her body, that's when the physical abuse comes in. And I'm not trying to justify physical abuse. I'm not trying to justify it at all. I'm just merely explaining this could be why he hits her. And it's not a good explanation at all because it's still fucked up. I mean, it's still really messed up, and I'm not trying to explain. He has a mental illness, so we should excuse him hitting her constantly. No, he's still a piece of shit. He's still a horrible person. I'm just saying that when he has an organized trip, when he is being triggered at that moment, he doesn't have room for her because only thing he's thinking about right at that moment is Batman. He doesn't have room for her. And people always kind of bromance them together and kind of like ship them together. Like, oh, they have a bromance, all that sort of stuff. It's not like that. He's not in love with Batman. Batman is his PTSD. That's pretty much it. And I know a lot of people are going to take this and they're going to be like, this can't be true. This can't be true because I love the Joker. And the Joker has to have something that not everybody has. A lot of people have PTSD and have PTSD because traumatic events, because I have PTSD. And it's hard to think somebody so meta, so big, he's like a mega villain would have PTSD. You wouldn't think that he would have something so mundane. So you believe, you make up super sanity or something stupid. No offense, that's fucking stupid to explain a character that actually has something realistic about him that set him off. He has PTSD. He does not have super sanity. I'm sorry. It's just so dumb. I don't mean to like make fun of whoever said that. I'll try to find who actually said that first. I don't know if it's just a fan theory or like a writer of Joker comics actually said that, but it just doesn't make sense. It's like a very vague explanation to a character that they just want to be special, pretty much. He has PTSD. I'm sorry. And I'll be linking my blog down below explaining this entire thing. I explain word for word, mostly what I said, but a little more too. I don't really talk about the debunking of the super sanity and stuff on there, but I do explain in more detail all three of the women that I mentioned, and a little bit more about the balance of the disorganized and organized serial killer, if I can't say that enough in this video. But anyways, that's it. That's my video for today. If you like this video, please comment down below. Tell me any other characters you want me to do the psychology of. I mainly know DC characters, but if you want me to do something Marvel, or you want me to do a TV show, movie, anything, just tell me below. If you really like this video, why don't you do a like on this video? And if you really, really like this video, you should subscribe, because I kind of want to do more videos like this. Thank y'all guys for watching. Bye!